Hello and welcome back to the Weight and Native Chronicles. As many of you know, my wife is Indigenous. She's the native part of the Weight and Native Chronicles, and although I produce most of the content here, she also contributes her portion, and she specializes in making native crafts that she shares also on this channel. So this one we're going to take a look at how she instructs the making of moccasins, and she's dealing with just the last portion of the work where she constructs the heel, puts the trim on the moccasins and the fur trim. These are a pair of moccasins that she's just completed for me, as a matter of fact. She does a lot of work like that. She has a channel called, or a page called Moccasin's Native Crafts, and you can go and visit her on Facebook searching for Moccasin's Native Crafts. And she's also provided a number of videos that are included on this channel. So check up here for a link to the playlist, and it's going to cover everything you could possibly want to know. She gives very in-depth lessons on how to bead and how to make the entire shell of these moccasins, even going into making the brain tanned moose hide right from scratch. So lots of content on this channel for the stuff that she does. So let's get into it as she shows how to complete this pair of moccasins.
I've done two parts of making moccasins, and I'm doing the third part, how to attach the back heel lining to the moccasins, because someone asked, they're kind of stuck, and so here we are. I'm going to show you how to do it, and also how to sew the beaver pelt on. Okay, so now I've done the third part. This heel is sewn, but with the lining, I kind of push it in with my two fingers right to the tip here. Hold it there and get this part, and then you take the pointed part here, and don't worry about this part. Don't hold it if you don't need to, and pointed part of the lining together right at the heel top like this. And don't worry about excess material hanging. I'll show you how to do it. Okay, here we are. It's tuck. I usually run my finger along the edge and hold it, and then pinch it together. Kind of run your fingers along so it just sits flush with the moccasin, and then you kind of pull it. See? It lines up perfectly. So, and then this way we take one, I use this paper clip, I guess. It comes handy. I pin right in the middle so it holds. It won't go anywhere. Okay, and then just check to see the lining is perfectly flush like that. I use, it's called soft shell fleece for my lining. They're durable and strong. And next, you kind of just work it so it's like that. Okay, and I take this and kind of pull it, so tuck it at it so it's flush like that. And now you got this look here, see? And then just hold it with your hands and tuck it, and you take a needle. I use black thread so it matches, and I take my thimble, and at this end you start sewing. Okay, so, and just big stitches. It doesn't have to be small because it, you know, that you want it so this material. Sometimes it doesn't hurt to just take a nip at the moccasin, just as a tip, so it holds too. Not all the time, but here and there. So this way it sticks. So there you go. I just big stitch is fine. It doesn't have to be good, just so it holds together. See it? I'm using black, so sometimes it's hard to see, but hope you get to see it. So, okay, and then there's a little cross here, so if you want, you could take both of it together too. So, and work it around to the other side. Okay, I'm on the other side now. And what I do is I will put a knot there. Just tug at it a bit and put a knot on it. Just one knot is good. And then what I do is try to work it back to this point. So just run the thread along the side to there. And then we'll work to this part so it holds down. There'll be excess material, but it'll look thick. It's folded, but don't bother cutting it because it's a nice cushion for the heel too. So it's good to keep it like that. And if you cut the material right flush with the moccasin sole, it should even out the top and everything. So you don't need to take any excess material out. I don't. So I like the little thickness here, so along the line, so it gives a little bit of cushion for the back heel. And I'm almost getting to the end, so you don't have to sew it right to the top, because I'll show you once we sew the fur lining, you'll know. So I just tug, and I take this out, see, and I kind of just work at little stitches to the front along the edge. You don't have to be right on top, maybe half an inch. Quarter inch is good enough. And work it to the middle, okay? When I get to the middle, you kind of hold it together like that, and you push the needle to the back. And what I do is I take this sew part, I just take a little bit of that height and pull it out. So this way it holds. And then you bring it out, see, and tuck at it. So, and then you got a little secure there. And then just make a knot. And then I just work the thread back. I always hide my threads. I don't like my thread hanging out. And at the back, just pinch it. And then, well, flip it over. Just hold it and flip it. See? There. You got a little cushion there too. And then there. The material is flush with the... If you have a little bit sticking out, you could cut it out or just sew it. I'll show you how to sew it. So that part is done. And I always put a stroud trimming on my hide. So what I do is I cut, you kind of, oh, where's my, can I have my measuring tape? To do the trimming, I always put about an inch out, and measure it, okay? Measure it along like this, and then I go for 15. So this is 15, and then I want to see how it's color trim. So I go with, this is a big one, so I go with 1.25 inches, somewhere in there. And you kind of fold it in half, and then put it right in the middle, just to be sure. Just make sure you got extra hanging there. And then I use this to hold it together, like that. And that's how you do it. And then kind of hold it together and just give it a big stitch, like it. I use a thimble all the time because sometimes the height is hard to pinch. And there, just make a big stitch so it holds together. I use this 3-pointed needle for height and stuff. So yeah, you just kind of work it around all the way to the other side, okay? So all three hold together, like with the stroud. You could use any stroud, but I like using red for my family because it's kind of sacred, traditional color for. So I like, you could use whatever color you like. That come out, there's navy. I could have used navy, but I like red because I'm making this for my husband. That's his second pair of with moccasins in few years. He wears them out. So, but this time I use commercial hide because I'm gonna start doing my brain tan soon. Okay, we've done it. Now we're going to my tape. This time we'll do pelt trimming. So what I do is I go all around. So from this end of the vamp, go hold it for measurements and go all around holding it. And then, okay, so this one is 18, and you could always go little because you have to sew. So this one I went with 8 3/4 for the length to go around. So, and what I do is I cut it, and then I go little over 1 inch, maybe close to 1.25 inches, because and I always start at the back here. So I want this fur, since this is the right foot, I want the fur to kind of go the going outside. So what I do is like this, and then I would flip it and then work on this end like this. I'm going to overlap the fur, so make sure this one goes the other way. See how it is? And you want the inside to lay flat. I will show you why I do that. So because when I'm finished, this end, I want this tip that goes the other way to overlap like this. See, I would sew it like that. And then sew it along. So I flipped it, it all goes the same way. So this way I would start this way, and I always use this to keep the fur in like that. So you don't sew whole bunch, it's easier, and then pinch it like this. So, and then I kind of use the double the thread, so I go. Beaver fur is really easy to work with. It's very dense and strong, and it doesn't get in the way too much. So I use it a lot for trim. You don't need to put small stitches. If you got the double thread, make sure you get all this: the fur, the lining, the height, and the and the trimming all together, and about there. You don't have to go too deep in, just on the tip of it, all the full material together, and just you and it. You could just tuck. You don't want it really, really tight. Just nice and snug, not tight. So, because you want it little flexible in there, and then make sure you get all four together like that. You could use the needle too to pinch the fur in, and you just work like this all around. See, you just pinch the fur in, and then it works just fine like that. Yeah. And you don't get any pelt hanging out or and okay, when you come to this edge, the trim, I don't cut it. I usually just wait till I'm almost ready at the end. I use a chalk to mark it, kind of just a little dab like that, and then I would cut it like this, right somewhere in there. So I hold it. And this is kind of big scissor, but that's okay. I just kind of cut it just like this. Everybody cuts it differently. Some use scissor that's like, I don't know where it went, but anyways. And when you come to this end, just you could. I usually use a little, about a 1/4 inch higher, the van tongue, and I kind of sew it together with the lining, so it stays together. And I'll show you why, because I tuck it in. I tuck the fur in, and then it's flush. Sorry. Then you just sew it right to the end, right here. Right here. Every now and then, it doesn't hurt to just put a knot, just so you. And I go up. It will go a little higher, but not much. And I just continue sewing around. Tuck this in and just pinch it here so you know where you are. Pinch it with your fingers right here. It'll be like this. Okay, and I just go and grab that one. And you don't want it really tight. When we flip it over, you want a little bit of to give, and just continue with the tongue of the vamp. And just tuck it like that. And the fur, you want to sew it so it's not really tight. You kind of just want it kind of comfortably laying nicely together while you sew it. Because if it's too tight, you're going to have a problem later on when we do flip and sewing to the bottom. You might have a bit of shortage tightness. I will show you what I mean. But so just comfortably together, flexible, not too loose, not too tight, just right. Okay, I'm gonna change my thread here now. Okay, I put a knot here, and then I just weave it in just slightly, and then you won't have any thread hanging there. So, okay, I'll change. I use, it's called upholstery. This is very strong thread. I use it for all my moccasins. They use this thread for making your furniture and stuff. My mom used to use sinew, but I find this works better and easy to handle. And I'm using double thread for this round. Just do whatever feels comfortable for you. Some people pick up different technique of sewing, so I pick up a lot of different ways of doing things the way my mom and they taught me. So, and still works for me. And if you got extra hanging down, you could cut it, or I'll show you how I do it. I tuck it in, and then I start here. And then I'll have extra there. And what I do is I usually grab it and just hold it and just kind of overlap it so it doesn't go anywhere. See, like that. I do that with a lot of my stitch too, so especially inside stitch and stuff. And then it doesn't go anywhere. See, it goes. And get that little fur in so it doesn't stick out. You could use any kind of pelt you like. It's up to you, but for my slippers, I like using beaver pelt. It's strong. It doesn't wear out right away, but a lot of people use rabbit. I barely use rabbit fur because it wears out pretty quick, so it's too delicate. And we go to this end, we'll do the same. I'll just take a marker. I use chalk because it comes out. And then just little and about there. And just be careful you don't cut any other material than this. So I'll just take this and I'll just tug at it. See, there. You got that. See, it goes both ways. And now we continue holding this and tuck it in. And then I would go right here. Like sometimes they slip out on you, so. And then just take and pinch everything together so you get all four. And then hold this. And then just a little bit there. There might be a bit of pellets sticking out, but that's okay. It's not much. And then just work it out and pinch it. Okay, now we've gone all around and we come to the end. See this one, the underneath sticks out, and then it'll meet. So make sure you kind of push this on, and there's the end, the beginning of the other part. So what I'll do, it'll be flush like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep going sewing like this. And this, it overlaps right here. So I'm going to take all of it together, the underneath, the tip of it, and just go right through. Okay, there we are. So this way it'll meet and hold. So I'll put a knot here for now. So one thing, and then you lift it up, and you don't want to cut it right flush. You want to just a little bit, kind of an ankle. I'll show you, like there it is, and then just kind of a little angle like that, right down. I would take exact knife. I use the exact knife to do that. So I'm going to cut it right down here. Okay. So sometimes the exact knife is a lot of people use razor, but exact knife is much safer. And just cut that excess piece off. Slice it off. Make sure I don't get my... So there. Okay, there. What I'm going to do is, see, now this piece is overlapping and this one goes down, and just hold it. I'm going to sew this up, but I put a knot there. Just hold it. It could be a little over. It doesn't have to be flush. Just maybe, I don't know, not good with inches, but you would know. Okay, and then kind of just sew that together. And everybody sews it differently, but I do it different. I take a little pinch of the one side, and then I go back to the other side, a little pinch, and back like this. And on this side, this height is good. I buy good fur from a fur tanner. See that? So it just holds together. There. Doesn't have to be real perfect, but as long as it's sewn together, so it doesn't come apart, and it'd be good. Yeah, almost pinch my hands. And what I do is take this part, kind of just go to this side. Sometimes it's so tedious. There, I got through the other side. Okay, there. So I'm gonna show you, I usually just slightly run along the edge like that, just so, like that. There. I had a little hole, so don't, just, if you got a little hole, just stitch it up so it's not a waste. So what I do is I would flip it over, hold it and flip over. It goes over very easily, and with that little excess cutting, see, tuck at it, and there you go. It fits perfectly. So now we're gonna sew underneath, which is what I'm gonna do. But I'm gonna change this. But first I take, you don't want to sew this over, so I take a little bit at a time. I just take this stitch out so there's no stitch. So what I'll do is I'm going to change thread here, go single, but I want to show you when you go, I just go grab the, I use the trimmer, but you could grab a bit of the height too, here and there, not all the time, but so there, see. So I got that, and when I see, when that little hair that goes like that, you could hardly see it now. See, it goes flush right around. So always keep that in mind. So, and I'll do this. I'm gonna go get rid of that, and I go right through to the other side. I'm going to change my thread and go single. I go tuck it there. See, I got. So I'm gonna get rid of this double thread now. When I tie a knot, just go beside it, go back, and tuck it in. So, and then cut it out. There. So I'm gonna go single now and just sew around. You don't want too long of a piece, but there, that should do it. Okay, see, there's my single thread. Just work it and just sew all around like that. Underneath and then up. It doesn't have to be a small, it could be just fair enough, big stitch if you like. Like that, and just make sure you hold this, and then it comes out all around like that. I could, okay. don't forget to keep track of this underneath stitch, so you don't want that. It's called base stitching, I guess. Here. And just keep it smooth. And every now and then I will go deeper and get a little chunk of the hide. Doesn't have to be right. This is tough because it's I always have a little tiny pliers there, see? And then just go with the a good stitch like that. That's the trick. And then I'm gonna go deep again and grab a bit of the hide, and then I have to use pliers, and might as well just take this thing off. Oh, there. I'll take this stitch. I got another stitch there for the liner to hold in place. And then I'll go deep again, grab a chunk of the hide. Oh yeah. And a bit deep again. Oh, come on. There. Okay, when we come here, then it's a little higher, so, you know, it goes, see, when you, I don't need to just go all around. With it goes, with not having to sew really tight the first stitch around, just kind of just comfortably tuck good, then you have a really nice even flip over, and it goes around just nicely. And here I trying to grab the bias. This is the bias I use, so it's stronger. So and then go. The stroud part is easy to sew. You just go straight down and take a chunk out. See, then it's nice and flush. When doing slippers, you don't have to use this vamp tongue long. Just enough that you could overlap the fur with. And then my beadwork, I try not to overdo it towards the end of the vamp. So, oh, this one, okay. Okay, here. Maybe I'll take a bit of this out. There. And see, and yeah, the fur just nicely folds, just sits nicely over top, so that's good. That This one I go right through the bias, and then I would go a little bit to grab the stroud trimming, and then I have like a U shape, eh? When you make a U-turn, and then I would go and grab this fur here. Yeah. Careful you don't get your under nail done. I've done that before and that hurts. And then I just continue, just tug at it a bit so it's not much, just a tug. And then I'm gonna go and take this stitch out so I don't sew it. Okay. Okay, now we're at finished the bottom one. And just pull your thread through like that. And remember, I show you a knot. And then just push it right close to it and kind of pull it out the other way, so you don't have any access. There we go. There. And then we'll just take these. I hands like do a lot of stitching to hold things in place to be to perfection sometimes. And these are a size 11 moccasin. My husband has a big feet. It's good to have long nails, but it doesn't work. I use the tip of this so you don't tug. It's much safer. There you go. It's all done now. It's all sewn together, and see, it goes flush. So one thing you remember when you sew, you want this to overlap. So next time when you do the other one, do the thing. Make sure this one's sew it all around like that, and then this overlaps it like that. That's one thing to remember. So this way the fur covers like that. So there we go. I hope you enjoy this little piece I'm trying to finish. And if you have any questions, just ask. Well, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this part, and hopefully down the road I could do more. And I need input of many of my sewing, so I appreciate Masicho. Way to Native Chronicles, and may God bless you all.
Did you like this video? If you did, I think you're gonna like this one right over here. So check it out. And I appreciate your subscribing. If you haven't done so already, remember to do that while you're watching this next video. Click like, it all helps us out for this channel. Catch you next time.